In February 2023, a memorial plaque in honor of a graduate Ramis Isayenko was installed in the Narishkinskaya boarding school in the Ural region. In the autumn of 2022, he was recruited by the PMC Wagner right in the colony, where he was serving his third term. 2 months later, Isayenko died in the war against Ukraine. The opening of the memorial plaque was also attended by Ukrainian children who were illegally taken from Donetsk region to Russia by occupiers.
Children participate in the installation of memorial plaques in honor of those killed in the war in Ukraine, place desks for heroes, meet with various law enforcement officials and priests, for example.
Ukrainian children who have been deprived of a peaceful life, home and family by Russia are forced by the occupiers to write cards and prepare gifts for the so-called heroes of the special military operation, participants in the war against Ukraine. All of this is a part of state policy, experts believe. So-called patriotic education and, in fact, propaganda ideological treatment of children is one of the regime's priorities, but it is especially important for the Kremlin to try change the consciousness of Ukrainian children, instill in them the idea that those who attacked their country and killed their relatives and friends is not an enemy, but a defender, to make them forget their native language and culture.
This is everywhere nowadays, and children must take part in it. They can't refuse as a rule, and this is part of the general all-Russian patriotic education program. As far as I know, there is a federal program, and the regions have their own programs on patriotic education, so such events are all part of these programs.
The journalists of Important Stories Media were able to identify 7 children who were taken from the territory of Donetsk region by the Russian occupants and placed in the Narishkinsky boarding school. These children were listed in the all-Russian data bank of orphan children. They, like many other little stolen Ukrainians, may be illegally transferred to Russian foster families. For some of the foster parents in Russia, this is a kind of business, human rights activists say.
Resource mother is a term we use because it is used by Russian agents. Resource mother means the one who has several children in her care. In other words, it is actually a business for her, because they receive money from the federal or regional budget and receives various incentives. Ekaterina Rushevskaya, lawyer of the Regional Center for Human Rights, in an interview with Hromadske Radio.
Ukraine is actively working on expanding international support for the return of children abducted by Russia. One of Kyiv's initiatives proposed to identify a patron state of Ukraine. In accordance with the norms of international humanitarian law, consuls of this country on the territory of Russia will be able to provide service to Ukrainian children.
Almost all countries are ready to join the initiative to return Ukrainian children. However, the problem lies in Russia's reluctance to return them. Qatar is already one of the first countries that has actively promoted the return of Ukrainian children from the Russian Federation and is ready to continue doing so. Moreover, it has publicly confirmed its willingness. There is also talk to other countries joining, including the Vatican, South Africa and the European Union countries. Dmytro Lubinets, Human Rights Commissioner of the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine.
The world is ready to unite and take steps to bring Ukrainian children back home. Meanwhile, Russia does everything to prevent this and use Ukrainian minors as weapon, changing their views and sending them to war. Reported by Anastasia Tarnavska, Yulia Bil, UATV News.